the Grand Manan Community Center, and we always open with prayer, and we have Pastor Stephen Brown of the Lighthouse with us tonight.
Mr. Mayor and Council, again, thank you for your service to our community. Let's pray. Father God, we are thankful today for the men and women who serve our community on council through the years, and today we thank you for those who sit and stand in this place of leadership in our community. God, we grant that you would give them wisdom and understanding in these days, and Father, I pray that you would give them strength, that they would not grow weary of well-doing. And so God, we just thank you and praise you that you are with your people, and we thank you, Lord, for the privilege of leading prayer for our council this evening. It is our honor to be here. We're honored by your presence and by their service here for our island. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Brown. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Probably a little bit of bad news as the property tax bills have come. And as we stated last month, the tax increase was 1 cent per $100. But before you go trying to compare this year with last year, look at your assessment and see how much your assessment is up. It probably jumped a couple of $1,000s, so that would be one of the reasons for the increase. February's been a very hard month with the snowstorms that we had, and I've been highway supervisor for 34 and a half years, and I never seen that much snow in 3 days. I've seen more snow spread over a couple of weeks, but nothing over that. So I guess what we can look forward to now is the spring weather. That's going to be on us in a very short time. And when we look around of what's happening in other parts of the world, I just think that we should be very thankful for living in a place like Grand Manan, being part of Canada. We live in a great country, and we're a great community that seems to look after anybody that's having problems or whatever. There's always people there. And if you happen to be driving by, you'll see, I don't know what the proper name is, but the Go-Go Entertainment is here in the gym. And I dropped in a couple of times today, and this morning I went to come in the village office and I heard all of the noise and went and had a look. And if anybody has got a little bit of time, it's quite drop in and see what's going on. We were up until, I guess, probably 2 weeks ago, we were very sure that we had a doctor coming to Grand Manan. He was coming from Ireland. We had been expecting him, and all of a sudden we found out that he's not coming. So it puts quite a strain on the hospital with what we have with Dr. Hare, Dr. Webb, and Hallie Bass, the nurse practitioner. Dr. Webb is going on vacation, and then after comes back, I think it's Dr. Hare is going. Councillor Turner has worked with Isha Shelton at the hospital manager, on getting a doctor with, the recruiting people. And we were very excited, and we are going, I say we, Councillor Turner, CAO McPherson, Deputy Mayor Moses, and myself are going to Fredericton on March the 15th. We have a meeting set up with Minister Boudreau, Minister of Health, and also our MLA and Rick Doucette, and our discussions are going to be concerning the doctors, and without saying too much, to get their salaries comparable on call to that's happening on the mainland. We have, through again, Councillor Turner had worked on a house, and we had a house rented. We still have the house rented. We'll keep the house as long as it's all right with the owner. That we'll keep it and hope that we can work through this doctor situation.
Dr. Howlett is going with us.
I know somebody was going. So there is a doctor from Horizon that is going with us. He has agreed to. And the last time that we had some doctor problems, we didn't seem to be making too much headway, but a doctor in St. John, Dr. Brian Craig, had went with us, and that was what turned things around. That the doctor, we wound up with the doctors that we had, because it was at the time Dr. DePina was talking of retiring. So another bright spot is they had the Curl for Cancer this weekend at the Curling Club, and all money collected stays in Charlotte County, and the small little island of Graminan was around $9,000. So a thank you to, especially to Dickie Morgan. Dickie is one of the organizers, and he also is one of the big fundraisers. So again, thank you very much, and that's my remarks for tonight. So the next thing is the disclosure of a conflict of interest. Number 5 is the adoption of the minutes of February the 6th, 2017.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of the minutes of February 6th of 2017.
Heard the motion by Councillor Sturgeon. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Moses. Question?
Mr. Mayor, on the minutes, I've been through and where we talk about, excuse me, Ellen's Law was moved by Councillor Turner and seconded by Councillor Leger. Just wondering.
No, that wasn't us. That was the City of Moncton.
Mr. Mayor, wrong Turner.
I thought that too.
Well, I was not thinking I was putty for bringing.
No, I thought that. Oh my God, what's she doing up in Moncton? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now I got lost. Additions to the agenda. I guess there's no addition, so we're pretty lucky there. The next thing is the RCMP report, and we have Constable Painter here tonight to present that.
Mayor and Council, as mentioned, I'm Constable Painter, for those who don't know me. It was a quiet month of February for the Graminan RCMP. We had a total of 80 occurrences. Spent most of the month shorthanded staff-wise with running 3 instead of the regular 4, which makes a big difference, even traffic violation-wise. So. We had 12 criminal code occurrences the month of February, 3 impaired driving, and 2 theft under 5,000s were the biggest things there. 3 federal statutes which fall under the Controlled Drug and Substance Act, all of which were marijuana. I know drugs are a big issue here, and usually you guys are wondering what kind of drugs it is. 1 alcohol-related roadside suspension, and 4 fire preventions. As everyone's aware, there's a house fire, and that was actually 3 different files that came in about the fire there. So, 36 provincial statutes, which include 4 check stops that we did, 28 violations or warnings issued, and the ongoing Off-Road Vehicle Act, just one occurrence done there, and 1 motor vehicle accident causing injuries of 6 people, which could have been much worse. We were lucky for that. So that's it for the month of February. Like I say, it's pretty tame. Use the Q word, quiet. Any questions?
Any questions for Constable Painter?
I don't want to ask this question, but I think it should be asked, I guess. A lot of us, when we watch TV, you know, I'm a big fan of the series, The First 48, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of times what they say is people so much watch CSI and other shows like that, they said you think that you can know everything within an hour kind of thing, kind of deal, but that's far from the truth, correct? I mean.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It takes.
Definitely reality TV a little bit to an extent. The first 48, I watched that too, and they say if your best chances of solving a homicide are within 48 hours, and after that your evidence is kind of slipping away. But yeah, not the case, and I think I know where you're going with that.
Of course.
We're still investigating. It's an open file.
Okay.
The information is definitely slowed down in regards to that file, without giving away too much here.
I know there's not too much
Yeah.
you can comment on.
Yeah, exactly. We've been in contact with the family, and they're the ones that are getting the updates, obviously. But we're currently awaiting more reports on that, and I'm kind of stuck at that, I guess. Sorry.
No, understandable. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
So any other questions? I'd like just to add a little something. Probably Constable Painter won't be happy with me for doing it. But Corporal Prime is leaving the 1st of April, I think is what it is, and our new corporal could be until July getting in. So Constable Painter is going to be the go-to guy on Grand Manan.
Yeah.
I guess you could call it team leader or something like that, but
Yeah. Corporal Prime's last shift will be on March 29th, and he'll be heading back to Nova Scotia where he was last there. So we'll be shorthanded. We'll be running 3 guys again for an unknown period of time until our new corporal arrives, who's arriving from Regina. He's in Regina right now at depot. So
the acting sergeant for this area told me that he was going to help you out with sending a guy over once in a while.
yeah, I don't think they'll throw us to the wolves by any means, but we're gonna try to run it, the 3 of us, as much as we can. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay then.
Call you acting corporal?
Been called worse, I guess, but you call me whatever you want. But no, I'll be doing team lead, like acting corporal duties in the meantime, until we receive a new corporal from Regina, whenever that may be.
Okay then, thank you. Now we have a 10-minute open session, and that is for anybody that likes to get up to the mic and say a few words. But you must remember that we can't comment, we can't answer any questions, but we'll listen to the information that you have to provide.
Okay, I'm kind of nervous. I'm not very good at this stuff. However, first and foremost, I'd like to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to address this. And basically what I'd like is for there to be access to the methadone maintenance program here on the island. There seems to be a great deal of stigma attached to the word, methadone in general. People think junkie instead of recovery. And for myself, I'm lucky enough that I can afford to go away, however many times I need to go away to go to doctor's appointments or just to the pharmacy. But some other people aren't as fortunate as myself, and I think it's, it's horrible, because if the 20 people that I can think off the top of my head that are on the program, they have to go away quite a bit too. But if there's 20 people I know off the top of my head, then there's probably 3 times that amount of people that can't admit they have a problem, or too, I don't know what the word would be, nervous to admit they have a problem. Because when you first get on the program itself, you have to go to the pharmacy every day for 30 days. And if you have a job, that's pretty hard to do. And for whatever reason, Glenn doesn't want in the pharmacy or whatever, and that's his prerogative, right? But I just think that for this island and the drug problems that we have, that we should have every option available to anybody that's seeking help, whether it be, methadone or just having somebody to talk to. And I don't know, sort of like I said, I'm really nervous.
Take your time.
Yeah. Okay, well, me myself, I've been on methadone for 7 years, and one of my biggest issues is going away, because I would never see anybody that I used to affiliate with or anything like that if it wasn't for me going away. And, you know, like that's the cost. If you go away anywhere, it's $100, you know, and then it's $10 a day for the program itself. And then, so what, in a year that equals up to like $8,000 if you went away once a week. And like when we had the storm last week, my doctor couldn't fax in a prescription, so then I had to go every single day. And then of course the boat didn't run Monday, so anyways, I'm just saying with there not being access to it, it's a real issue. And I think that some people that can't afford to do that or don't have a boss that's as understanding as mine, that you know, they're not getting the help and then they suffer. It's not just like, we have a lot more options now with AA and NA and the Harvest House, and Carl Ingersoll and them do, you know, quite a bit of things, but they only have so many tools at their disposal. And I don't think methadone's a cure-all for everybody, but I know for myself, it saved my life. You know, like I had a infection in the bone in my leg, and they gave me Dilaudid for years, and I didn't realize what they were until I stopped trying to take them, and then they told me that, you know, you're going to have to take something like this for the rest of your life, so I figured it was the lesser of two evils. But I just think it's a shame that we don't have access to it over here, because I know quite a few people that if they had it, or had the option, they would take it, and I know other people that have tried to get on the program, and because how it works, like I said, when you first go to the first 30 days, they make you go to the pharmacy every day. You periodically have urine screened. And if you pass those for over a month, they give you carries. So it'd be like you get 7 carries to take home, so you only have to go once a week. And for when people first start the program, that's impossible to do. Like, you know, you can't get on. Like I see different people on the boat all the time trying to go and do that, and they end up getting discouraged and don't see it through. And, you know, they end up in the same boat they were in. And it's just, I don't know. I think if we can help anybody, you know, here, that we should. You know, since I've been here in 20 years, you know, there's quite a few of my friends that I don't see, or you know, or aren't here anymore, and it's due to really stupid carelessness. And I don't know. This all started over a Facebook post, I guess I put, and first I was yanking about drug dealers because I was thinking like, I don't go out anywhere here, like party or anything like that. But when we were teenagers, there was only one place I could think where you could find hard drugs. And like one day I went out and I was just talking to somebody, and like in 15 minutes they told me like 10 or 15 people. It just blew my mind, like, because I was thinking that, you know, everything is better around here, and you don't hear about this and that anymore. But I just think it's a real issue, and that there's so much stigma around it that a lot of people are afraid to ask for help, because when it's being such a small place, you know. Like I get it a lot, and people don't like it that I don't know, that I can just talk about it. Do you know what I mean? Like some people are ashamed, but it was my life, I lived it. You know, it's what works best for me. And not all people that are on it are people that were, you know, doing drugs recreationally. It could be somebody that, you know, had a prescription and all of a sudden they, you know, get off it for whatever reason or try to get off it. And like I said, I don't believe it's a cure-all for everybody, and it's not for everybody. There's some people that, you know, they can turn to God or whatever gets them through type of deal, and that's great. But I know for me personally, that if it wasn't for methadone, I'd be dead. And I think that everyone that needs it over here should have access to it, whether it be at the hospital or hire somebody for Glenn, or like I don't think there should be a clinic, but I just believe there should be access to the methadone maintenance program on Graham and Ann. I guess that's it.
I want to thank you. It takes quite a bit to stand up in front of people and tell your story. I'll put it that way. And we know that it is a serious problem. Drugs are a serious problem on Graham and Ann, and we've been trying to do what we can do as a council. And hopefully that the effort is going to be a little more in the very near future. As the methadone, as I said, we won't answer any questions or ask any questions, but it will be a discussion for council to have in the very near future.
Well, thank you, but when I first started, or when I said I was gonna come, there was a bunch of other people saying, you know, of course they'd come, and then when I went and asked, they said where the meeting was so soon, I figured I'd just come on my own, 'cause the way I understand it is that you couldn't answer my questions, but since I brought it up, like say next month, it would be on the agenda or something that you may discuss, and then I could bring however many people with me then after I got the basic idea of what's going on, or, you know, because a lot of people have voiced their opinions to me. It's not like, you know, it's not just an isolated thing with me. There's quite a few people I think would actually benefit. And just from the education, like people that don't do drugs, like I go to Al-Anon, and you know, it's just tells you about your family and, you know, people that had addiction problems with stuff like that. And I find anything that can educate you or help you to understand better, you know, why not? It all helps.
I'll tell you, the next time you get up and speak, it'll be easier for you.
Yeah, thanks. I hope so. Holy smokes.
The first time is always the worst one. But as I said, we'll have a discussion on it amongst council. I can't tell you that it'll be on the next month's agenda.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
But when we get to it, one of the staff here will let you know that of what we are doing or trying to do.
Yeah, okay, great, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
You have to be scheduled, is it Tom?
No.
No. I'm sort of up in support of Joel, but I'm coming at it from a different angle. I just came back from Nova Scotia, and my brother, who's just about my age, tried to commit suicide because he was going to be taken off opiates. He had a bunged up knee surgery many years ago, went bad, the guy tried to cover it up. He went from one person to another, never got the treatment he wanted, and there's huge waiting lists, you know, to get into specialists. So in the meantime, you know, he's put on opiates finally, and then becomes addicted. And finally, after 10 years, they're coming down with a lot of new rules now, which will probably affect a lot of people in Grand Manan. You know, nothing to do with recreational drugs or somebody trying to treat a depression or anything else. It's everything as legitimate as each other. But in Nova Scotia, in talking to a lot of these doctors and the pharmacists over the last couple of weeks, they're saying that there's going to be a lot of people taken off their opiates for whatever reason, you know, surgical, for whatever reason they have pain, some even who are cancer patients. So there may be an impact here from that point of view too, because the only option at this point for people like my brother is a methadone program. So you may find that coming down the pipe here. It's been happening in Nova Scotia, and if you don't have a methadone program, it can be really tough. That's it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joel.
So, number 9 is new business. 9.1 is the Grand Manan Music Festival request for donations. Grand Manan Music Festival is requesting sponsorship for the 2017 program. Open for discussion. I think you see the letter in your package.
Question I have, Mr. Mayor, we supported this program when we passed? Okay.
Just a note, because I'm in it several times this year, it's growing, like there are more and more participants every year, which is kind of nice to see because it used to be a huge thing on Grand Manan. So I noticed in the list of participants this year that it has grown considerably over last year. So it's just a note to say that, you know, it's nice to see that.
Any other comments?
What has our support been past years?
I feel like last year was the first year we supported it, wasn't it? And we gave $200.
I think it is too.
Which is the maximum of what we can get for a non-budget event.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we grant them a $200 donation.
You heard the motion by Councillor Sturgeon. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councillor Ingersoll. Question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Councillor Turner, I know you have been busy, but there was some talk of making out a different application for a grant or donations, wasn't there?
Yes. I don't have it done.
No,
I
I'd say
I
you-
have worked on
yeah,
it.
but-
Yeah.
Probably that will be good when we do get that. And again, you know, these people, if they wanted more than 200, it should come in at budget time. And that doesn't, from what we done this year, it doesn't mean they're gonna get it neither, but it's best to have it in at budget time. Okay, 10 is committee reports. Finance Committee report update on the Wellness Center. Councilor Cheney?
Mr. Mayor, audience, and those on TV, you see I'm surrounded by my friends. I'll probably have less of them when I'm through my report. Or maybe not. As you know, we have been looking on Grand Manan to replace our pool because it's Centennial Pool and it's been quite a few years now that it's been in disrepair. We got it going last year, but just barely passed the other. We have a final report from our consultant, Silk Stevens, on the pool. There were 3 options. This is a little bit of old news, but a preamble. We went with option 2. It seemed to be able to be what we would need and could have as a nice minimum for our island. The committee of the Finance Committee and the Recreation Committee met on February 10th, and I'll just mention that COE Rob was there, Rec Director Chris. Also on that is Councillor Roger Fitzsimmons, but Roger, I don't think you were there that night. Councillor Kwani Morris, who is now in Florida, Councillor Jenny Turner, Deputy Moses, and myself. And we brainstormed how we could present this to the council and to the village, because time is kind of of the essence on this one. So, having made a faux pas earlier on the Councillor Lozier, and having been told that I was a little bit of a putty head with math during my industrial shop days, I'll try to go through this report, and if there are glaring errors, I'm sure they'll bring them to me, but we've had some help from this. Councillor Morris was in Florida. She's been getting information with Sheo McPherson, been talking to the people who I would call our banker, the Municipal Borrowing Board, and from her information, which I have to not dispute, can't dispute, I put together a report and I want to present it to you. As folks are now aware, Council has been looking at a feasibility of having a new aquatic center and wellness center here on Grand Manan. We have reviewed 3 different plans, adding, subtracting from them, and we have come up with what seems to be a workable plan with the facilities most wanted and needed by our community. The facility would consist in general of a large 5-lane swimming pool, which would accommodate swim classes, marine, emergency, and scuba diving training, as well as general recreational use. A smaller leisure pool with a beach walk-in would be for small children, as well as those with mobility issues. Also, for the children is a circular water slide, floor geysers, and a water umbrella. Aquacide and physiotherapy could take place in whichever pool is best suited for the need. A spacious and well-equipped fitness center, 3-lane walking track which surrounds the perimeter of the facility, locker rooms and shower rooms are included. A proposed floor layout has been posted on the Grand Manan Recreational Facebook site. Just scroll down, and not too far now because we've got it to the top of the site, to view the proposed plan and the comments. A proposed layout is also pinned outside the fitness center in the corridor. Now, the total cost of this facility would be $7.1 million. Grand Manan's share would be 1/3 or $2.37 million. We have already been approved to borrow this amount from the Municipal Capital Borrowing Board. No decision has been made as to whether a public funding campaign will take place. Any donations toward the project would, however, result in a lesser impact to our taxes. All donations would be deductible for tax purposes. So that is something to be considered. But what I'm presenting to you now is what we consider the worst case scenario with no extra funding coming forward. The building costs. At present, assuming no outside contributions, the amount of $2.37 million could be funded by a tax increase of 9.5 cents on every $100 of assessed value. Now, Mr. Mayor, you mentioned we got our bills, tax bills, and then your upper left right-hand corner, you'll see your real property assessment amount. Operating costs. Operating costs are projected at $100,000 annually. And this seems to be a fairly safe estimate. This takes into account projected income from the facility as well. If our net operating cost is $100,000 a year, this additional tax increase would be 5 cents. Translating into 14.5 cents per $100 of assessment value. So let me break this down. A total increase of the building loan, which would be for 20 years, this case, and the operation costs, which would be ongoing, we're saying is 14.5 cents per $100 of assessed value. So, anybody with me here on a calculator?
Yes, so from what I can gather here, Councillor Cheney, at 14.5 cents is what we're talking.
At this present time.
At the present time, on a $100,000 assessment, that'd be like $145 increase.
You are correct, Councillor Sturgeon.
Yes.
If your assessed value here is $100,000 on your home, at 14.5 cents, that would be $145 a year. Divided by 65 days is 40 cents a day. To give you another example, if your notification up in that corner is $50,000, that'd be $72.50 or 20 cents a day. $250,000, 99 cents a day. $500,000, $2 per day. There are committee members who are presently off the island this March break. However, upon their return, the committee will reconvene and soon thereafter produce a mail-out with previous information for those who do not have computer access. In the meantime, I would encourage you to place any comments or concerns on the Grand Island Recreational Facebook site. In review, the federal and provincial governments have reviewed our submission to construct this aquatic center and wellness facility. They are prepared and waiting to approve our application for their funding portions as soon as the Village of Grand Island commits to its 1/3 of the cost of the project. The Municipal Capital Borrowing Board has committed to loan the village, they're our banker, its 1/3 of the funds required. The preliminary design has been completed. Now the next step is to produce the final construction drawings, specifications, go to tender, award to a general contractor, break ground, and start building. Due to the magnitude of this project, a public meeting will be held in the near future to allow for questions to be asked and answered. This facility would provide much needed recreation options to our ever-aging population, as well as activities for families, which such activities have always been in short supply. We recognize, however, that as a result of the impact to property taxes, the will of the community as a whole must be the deciding factor. Can we afford the cost of less than a cup of coffee per day? For this improvement to the quality of life for our island community, from young infants to aging seniors. Mr. Mayor, it's my opinion, the answer is yes. Respectfully submitted, Kurt Cheney on behalf of the Village Recreation and Finance Committee.
So, you've listened to Councillor Cheney. Is there any questions that you want to put to Councillor Cheney?
Mr. Mayor, I think as Councillor Cheney has pressed, if we're going to move forward on this, I think time is of the essence, but still I think we all here very much appreciate the public's input in this. I guess when it comes to a public meeting, I'd rather sooner than later. So I guess how soon can we have one, Councillor Cheney, or what is your recommendation?
Well, our snowbirds should be back within a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And if we get together, we have the handout which goes out. There's some detailed information here. And then we have a mail out. I'm sure that will generate some questions. And I would think that probably, Mr. Mayor, late April, should we be looking at? Set something up?
I think that's an ordinary time frame.
Yeah.
But with both federal and provincial government, we have notified them of what we want to do.
Mhm.
But we didn't feel that we should go any further until we've had a public meeting.
Sure.
Because what's the sense of going through the process? That's the same as we have not applied to the Capital Borrowing Board. We have asked
Is available.
if it's available. So we couldn't see of applying for it and then the people turning it down or if something happened. So the public meeting and then it moves on from there if that is what the people want.
And this, like you said, is the worst case scenario.
This-
And there's still ongoing
Yes.
avenues that we are looking at.
There's ongoing avenues to try to procure additional funding.
Right.
There is, but I don't think that we should get into that
No,
at this meeting.
No.
Which could be a
But it's
thermometer
not-
outside, outside the building.
Yes, yes.
Where people could donate $1,000 and get a tax receipt. And maybe we could raise $1 million that
There
way.
are
Would really reduce the,
things to look at.
we'd be going from really to a small cup of coffee.
Yeah.
When we put the numbers together, we were kind of looking at the absolute worst case scenario, so there wouldn't be any bad surprises. There might be some pleasant ones, hopefully. But this way, it's like this is the absolute most that it should cost. There are possible other avenues of income for it. We were talking about, it's not just about having a party in the pool and having a gym membership. There's a lot of things now that can generate income, but we didn't want to try to guess at those. We just said, if none of that happens, and we already made it net of anything we would use for the existing pool. So I think we got it at, something that, it's the worst case scenario, but it's still not that bad.
No.
And one thing that people need to be aware of too is this was not the Cadillac that was first presented.
No.
And it come down to, this was taken out, that was taken out, and the only next thing to come out was the walking track. And this is what the people said they wanted, was the walking track. So if, any other comments? You're fine?
I was very quiet tonight.
Councilor Ingersoll, you've been down there with your pen, doing some figuring, ciphering?
I just think it's up to the people.
Yep, well, that's good. So everybody's happy with what has happened so far. You've done very well, Councilor Cheney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So number 11 is approval to pay the following invoices: Beers Neal's year-end audit, $11,500.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pay our auditor, Pierce Neal, the $11,500 for our year-end audit.
You heard the motion by Deputy Mayor Moses. Do we have a seconder?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Cheney. Question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'm glad that we had some people at the 10-minute session, because if we hadn't, it would have probably been the shortest council meeting on record. I don't know whether we're doing things right or people's just not interested at this time, but the last 3 council meetings have been very short, but they are a lot better than the ones that stretch by 10 o'clock. So, the next regular council meeting is Monday, April the 3rd, 2017, here at the Grand Manan Community Center at 7:30. I want to thank you people for coming out tonight. Thank the councilors to be here, the ones that are not on vacation, and it leaves Deputy Mayor and Councilor Cheney a little lopsided over there. It's a good thing we're not the Grand Manan Adventure. We'd have to pump some ballast. So, if I heard that magic word,
I'll move that we adjourn.
you heard the motion by Deputy Mayor Moses that we adjourn. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councilor Sturgeon. Good night, everybody.